career gotten canceled. So we're gonna keep on doing this thing.
And just for all the YouTube listeners, we are up on all podcasts and platforms now. So if you don't catch it here live on YouTube, or you can't find it in the YouTube feed under the playlist I made, we got it on all podcasts and platforms. So make sure you give us a 5-star review. Give us a fuck to do it live or something. Come up with something funny. Give us a 5-star. So we're up on all podcasts and platforms. I got one thing before we get going. I don't know if we can make this live. We might get trouble, but I got to give our boy Danny Corio dabs, dog.
Yo, come on, man. I'm so excited for that,
Dude, the Stone Pony, bro. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah, if you ain't from Jersey and you don't know what the Stone Pony is, it is a legendary rock club. The likes of Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen have all kind of come through and still play there, from what I understand. But it's the most legendary kind of rock club. I mean, the Ramones played there. Every band that you could think of that has toured and kind of hustled small venues has come through the Stone Pony, and our boy Dan Corio, Middlesex County College's own Dan Corio, is playing the Stone Pony and moving to Nashville. So I'm pretty fired up for him, man.
Yeah, dude. And I think it goes to how I met him. He came back to the club and started training for a police athletic league competition. And then, I left the club for a little bit, parted ways, and then I met up at the meanies. I was like, oh, what's up with Danny? They're like, oh, he's like playing guitar now. I'm like, what? And that was, I don't know, 2013, 2014, and now he's playing at the Stone Pony. I think that's a testament to the people that were in our crew, that like when we say we're going to do something, it might take us a minute, but it's going to happen.
It doesn't take that friggin' long. The dude's only been playing guitar for like 10 years. He's just crushing it, dude.
Yeah. I was speaking weird. More for myself than Danny, by the way, but.
Wow. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It is a testament to the people that we had around us back then. It's strange to me how, I think we brought it up, like Edison, just Middlesex County in that era, just produced some crazy people. And then we had this really interesting mix of humans that went and started hanging out at the club. Let's call it what it is. They were just hanging out. I mean, wrestling was like it
was the excuse to tell the wife, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, you hear like business philosophies, like Starbucks always wanted to be like, they're part of their business. Their theory was they wanted to be the third place that people go, right? Like people go home, they work, they wanted to be that third place. And some people go to the bar, some people go to a coffee shop. One of us goes to a bar, one of us goes to a coffee shop. Guess which is which? But you get the point though, right? But I think Ryan wrestling, that little tin shack became, especially during the summer times, became very much the third place for a lot of degenerates and a lot of misfits and a lot of really, really interesting people. And Danny was for sure is one of them. Like the dude's Batman, as far as I'm concerned. Like,
right.
The dude jumps out of helicopters. He was knocking down. He pulled Sully's plane out of the Hudson. I mean, like the dude's got stories for days. Like he was part of the scuba SWAT team and he was part of ESU in New York City. That should probably be mentioned. And oh yeah, by the way, guitar virtuoso. Like what? It's so awesome. It's so awesome. We have a really interesting circle of friends, and I'm very grateful for them. And he's coming out here soon too, by the way.
Nice.
Coming out here. Why? So the last time, and this will be fairly entertaining. The last time I met up with Danny, he came out and visited me in Austin. Yeah, but for whatever reason, I don't know what I had to do.
Oh, did he meet up with you in Oklahoma?
Well, so he met up with me in Austin, but we drove to Stillwater.
Did you see Zach Bryan or something? Because he sent me like a Zach Bryan song, and like you were in Oklahoma at the time. I'm like, they're hanging out.
No, it wasn't to see a show. It had something to do with wrestling. I don't remember what it was. I know Eric was there. I don't know, whatever. It's just another weekend in Stillwater as far as I'm concerned. But my son got to live full Danny. Like so my son is a fucking talker, right? I don't know where it gets from, but I remember telling him before Danny got there, I'm like, listen, I know you're gonna like talk, but understand, this is a dude that you should make one statement around.
I got a story for you about that.
I believe you. But like
on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. All right. So he starts like just peppering Danny with questions and so now Danny's starting to, he's starting to, because it takes, like, Danny doesn't talk about the fact that he jumped out of fucking helicopters much. He doesn't talk about the fact that he pulled a plane out of the Hudson in -3-degree weather. He doesn't talk about, he won't offer up that stuff. So I'm like, Jack, you gotta pepper this dude with questions. He's not gonna just offer this stuff up. And so he does. And so Danny starts to kind of let him into his psychoses, so to speak. I mean, let's call it what it is, right? Danny's not normal. And my son and his buddy Kane were in the back of the car, and we got a rental car, and it was like this little piece of shit whatever, and it was really quiet. Like, it was like it wasn't an electric vehicle, but it might as well have been. It was so quiet, right? So Danny goes in, gets coffee from a convenience store, comes back out, and I start the car. And look, if this gets us taken down from YouTube, then so be it. It'll be worth it. But he like looks at the car, gets in the door, slams the door, and goes, "This thing sounds like a pussy fart." And just and my son and Kane just die laughing for an hour about the fact that A, he said that, but B, he said it when he said it. And he was right. It did sound not unlike that. So every time I'm with him, every time he hangs out around here, he leaves this place better than he finds it. That's for sure.
Yeah, he reminds me where I'm from. Like, talking to him, talking to Gucci, talking to you. But we've had Danny on Airey Bros, and we had him on Jules 2.0, which was a beer drinking podcast, and we had him and his brother on the beer drinking podcast, and they were already like 10 Coors Lights deep before they got on the beer drinking podcast. So I don't even have to get into that. If people really want to listen to it, they can go listen to it. But you already know how that went. Yeah. But yeah, I love Danny to death. Do you have any wrestling stuff you want to get into? Because you brought something up there that I kind of want to talk about.
Well, yeah, I do want to talk about one thing wrestling, but let's go to you.
Okay. So you kind of brought up the dynamics of Rhino, right? And you brought it up as it was a social club, and it was like the third party place for people to go out. But if you really think of the layers of characters of human beings that found sanctuary there, dude, because let's be real, it was a sanctuary for misfits, right? And there were all different kinds, and it goes from the beginning wrestler with 2 left feet. It goes to the kid win in Tulsa, because we had that dynamic there with the little kids, obviously, right? We had that. We had the high school studs. Then we had the shout out Brandon Russo, because he's the story. We had the Brandon Russos. Then we had the JUCO guys. We had either the D1 flunkies who were transitioning to JUCO that were going to transition out of the sport within a couple months, and then we had the kids that were fighting for a spot on a JUCO team. Then we had like a Tyler Fraley who was out of college, goes back to Rhino, then he's a national champ. And then you got the dudes like Pelcione or the guys who just grew up in the club, and that's what they know, and that's where they go. And then you got the guys like Danny. But I think there was just like, I've been to a lot of wrestling clubs in New Jersey, at least growing up, and I don't think there was anything like that place. Like, that was like a moment in time. When people say like, because there's different dynamics at wrestling clubs. There really is. Like there's the jocular mentalities, there's the rich preppy mentalities, there's the kind of rough mentalities, and then there's Rhino.
Yeah, I think that's what happens when you make the priority creating good people. I think because like I don't think I ever, and certainly far less than I do now. I can't remember like teaching tactical wrestling. Like, okay, 30 seconds left, 1 minute, down by one. Got it, what do you do?
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of that. I would teach technique a lot more there. And I don't know. I don't know how that kind of came to be, but it did. And it was like, I think it had a lot to do with like the older guys that were coming back. Like like you said, the Steve Pelsiones, David Spray was still hanging around at the club, not getting taken down for some reason, and Paul hanging out after he graduated, and Danny and the meanies and it was just like this.
Shout out Greg Dukas. Gotta shout him out too.
Dukas, yeah,
right?
Dukas,
like
right?
cats like that. Like
that's just what they did. What's what we did on Thursday nights is we beat the shit out of each other. That's just that way. And like, Steve Pelcione had no interest in growing as a wrestler anymore. This was just a thing that he did on Thursday nights. And it was social in that we would just unabashedly make fun of one another. Like we would bring people to tears at points because we were making fun of them so much.
I yearn for that at this point.
I miss that so much out here. They don't bust balls, dude. No. They don't bust balls.
Can't handle.
And it's like you need to buck up a little bit. Like I forget what one of the kids on the team is just. I forget what happened, but somebody put their phone attached to the aux cord, and it was like it went off on like a Katy Perry type.
You gotta be ready. You gotta be ready.
I know. I'm like, I go, did this phone come with your first box of tampons? And he goes, that's not nice. I like Katy Perry. I'm like, well, you're no fun at all. I mean, well, you're just like, you suck. Like,
yeah.
Are you like trying to make me feel bad for calling you? Screw you. So I don't know. Yeah, we would the worst it's ever been as far as busting balls was there was a text thread with me, David, Paul, and Daniel Sareva. And I don't know how, but he poked the bear one time and I was just in a fucking mood. And I went off on him so bad that Paul told me like that day, that night, I was at the beach. I think I was like fucking like a couple beers in at the beach. And he told me that night, like Paul like texted me privately that night and was like, he wants you to stop. Can you please stop? And I'm like, oh no. It got to the point where I was like, dude, you can't even get the big piece of chicken at your own dinner table. You're a bronze medal. You're a bronze medal at your own dinner table, bro. Like, how does that feel? So it's like, I guess it was funny because it was true. At that point, I don't think he could stand it. But it was probably the worst ball busting that I've ever been a part of.
It was the best, man. And that stuff gave me character. And there's times here because I'm so dumbed down because Rich is not like that at all. So like moving in with him, I had and what I realized when I moved to California, and I didn't realize this, but I'm a bro, and I'm a bro because of Rhino, right? Like my roommates in California nicknamed me Jim Bro. And,
Right.
you know, Rich made me tune that down a lot. So out here, I'm kind of not like that. But there's some kids that on set, they'll say some stuff and I'll perk up. I'm like, all right, we got Rhino vibes. Like, all
Oh,
right.
that's no, that's no. Yeah, it's and it's always gonna like the best part about it is like you don't know when it's your turn in the barrel. Like you could just walk
Just
in one
gotta be
day
ready,
and
dude.
you just have the wrong. I got a stupid fucking hat on, and that's it. Like that's it. Like it's over.
I learned though that if you don't, if you're vicious when someone attacks you, they won't attack you anymore. Cause I'm kind of like, I go right for like, oh, you didn't place in districts this year? All right, like let's go. You know, like I'm that guy, you know, like you're gonna come at me for whatever, and there's a lot you can come at me for. You better be ready to bear your sins.
All right, here we go, dude. The entire so this we got to remember, like I'm still even now I'm still feeling my way through this whole California thing.
Yeah. And it's different. People listening might not realize that, but we come from a different place.
Oh yeah, no, if we didn't make fun of you, we didn't like you.
Yeah, for real.
We didn't like you. That was, and I know that that's to people in the Midwest and to people out here in California that doesn't compute, but that was the way it was. Like if you, like I have made fun of Anthony Knox, Big Knox, so much that like I should probably go see somebody because I've made fun of him so much about like I will like he was on a flight with Chris Ayers. Right? They just happen to be on the same flight. If you don't know who Chris Ayers is the head coach at Princeton University. So you can visualize everything having to do with Princeton University is encapsulated in Chris Ayers and his Lululemon khakis. Okay, so and I love you, Chris.
I'm wearing Lululemon khakis
Dude.
right now, bro.
Yeah, you are. You're the worst. Okay, you're the worst. You stink on us. I can
Bro,
smell.
I can do yoga in these, dog. I'll get into down dog the minute we get off this podcast.
You're the worst. Anyway, Knox has not worn sleeves since 1997.
And he has the tattoos to come with it.
He has tattoos, and he's just meathead, skinny from Staten Island, and like he's just the antithesis of Chris. And so he texts me. Knox goes, "Oh, I'm on a flight with Chris Harris from Princeton." Immediately, I get on the phone with Chris. I'm like, first of all, tell him to take the mesh trucker's hat off because nobody thinks he's tough. Secondly, I would bet a pinky that he doesn't have. I bet a pinky he doesn't have sleeves on his shirt right now, and it's the middle of February. He's like, "How do you know all this?" I'm like, "You just tell him that I said kiss my ass." But it's just like that was. If we didn't like you, we wouldn't make fun of you. Like it was just that's the way it was. I don't know.
Well, let's just say there was two kids, and I won't mention names. When I went back, I apologized to them, and I was grateful they still talked to me because, like you said, dude, like you're especially being younger.
Yeah. There's a kid this year. And like I said before, I was still feeling my way out here in California, and like there was a kid this year that came to the room. So he went to Super 32, did not have the tournament that he wanted. He comes back in the room and huh?
Did he have all the
Did
gear
you say
on? Did he have all the gear on?
No.
Okay.
But he's like, he comes in and like I bring him into the center to start practice before we even start warming up. He's like still putting his shoes on and like yip yapping with one of his buddies. And I look over at him and like I was at a crossroad right there. I'm like, I'm gonna have to do this right now. And I did. And I'm like, what's up, buddy? He's like, oh, I'm good. I go, you good? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you're just dealing with that 1 and 2 glow. You got that 1 and 2 glow about you. He goes, oh. And he just put his head down and started jogging. I'm like, look, man, You can't walk in here like you won the thing and went 1-2, bro. So it's still alive. It's just not as much a pile on as it used to be. Like you would, at that point, as soon as you heard 1-2, you would have smelt blood in the water and just went, you went 1-2 in Super 32? How'd that go? Did you shoot, bro? You didn't, you just gotta leave the guns in the holster? That's cool, I guess. So yeah, but it's less of a pile on now.
That's a real thing too. That 0-2, 1-2. I remember going out to duels, and the Greco team was out there before we got out there, and there was a kid that went like 0-8 in Greco. And you want to talk about someone who looked like they were on suicide watch, and that was just like you wanted to get your first win in so bad because you didn't want to be that kid. Like, oh, that can happen. Like that could really happen.
You got to go explain to your parents why they dropped $2,000 and watch you go 0-4. That's it. That's what you want? Oof. Good luck with that.
But I think, dude, that was always in the back of my mind, because I remember there was a crossroads at States going into my last match. I was 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a real thought in my head. It was like, I can leave here. Like I can leave here and go 2-3 and still place. Mm-hmm. But to me, that's like, ugh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that was
400.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to what you were saying about kind of giving that kid a metaphorical ball tap of just like, hey, just bust your balls, but have some pride.
Yeah. Like, and this is something that I think I was going to save for a different topic or podcast, but like Super 32 has like, so it's weird, right? Like I don't remember it being it certainly wasn't as big when you were a kid.
It was just starting. It was just
starting. When Scotty was there,
it was getting there.
It was really getting there. Now it's like that's the premier preseason tournament, right? Like if you win that, you're the buzz, right?
It's like 3-minute period though, isn't it? Like that to me doesn't.
So that to me,
it's bullshit.
Takes away from, doesn't it? Like that's not wrestling, right?
No. And like I know you probably had a point with this topic, but that kind of gets me into like the Eddie Bravo side of things. Like, what if you did like a 10-minute match, and if there wasn't a pin, they're both out of the tournament?
So, all right. So here's the thing about it, right? When I was working at Flow, when the Pandy Wandy hit, we were scrambling to figure out like what are we gonna do? And so like the first card that we put together, I was pretty involved with. I was pretty involved with the Dake Chimizo card. And that one, it was supposed to be before he canceled himself. It was supposed to be David Taylor versus Pat Downey. David got to me and was like, let's turn the tech off. He's like, I want to punish him. He's like, I want to punish him. Because Pat Downey was talking shit and like doing it well.
Yeah.
Like really, like when he gets going, like he's not.
You don't want to be on the other side of that.
Right. Like and everyone was like, ooh, that's gonna, and so like whether he had a shot or not didn't really matter. Like, so David wanted to turn the tech off. Like, and my initial reaction was like, oh, he's gonna put him into a table.
Yeah.
Then I was like, oh wait, is that a step towards like a negative step towards gimmicks? And I thought about it for a while, and I was like, I think for like that is like 1 or 2 steps removed from ladder matches, right? Like,
no, it's not. It's not, dude. And you need a ladder match because you need the draw, dude. Come on, man. Razor Ramon, HBK, WrestleMania 10. Stop it. Stop. The Hardys, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, ladder match, WrestleMania 17. Get out of town, Charlie Brown.
You're such a dork. You can rattle off the top 5 is amazing to me. I just felt gimmicky, and I don't know, any deviation from world competition to me just feels kind of icky and weird.
How do you evolve then, though?
Well, that's the whole thing. I think we need to kind of hone in on the freestyle rules and make them so user or fan experience friendly that I can explain it in 30 seconds to anyone. That's why I really think that eventually beach wrestling is going to take over for Greco. I really do believe that. Like I'd be very surprised if it doesn't. I'd be very surprised. It's simple. The rules are simple. 1 point for a step out. 1 point, I think it's like 1 point for a takedown, and the first person, and feet to back is 3. Okay. First person to 3 points wins. Match is over within 2 minutes almost every time. Okay. I think they have, I think I saw 2 second periods. They do like a 2 and a 2. I think it's like, cadet periods, but I can explain that to somebody in 45 seconds. Try explaining the rules to Greco-Roman wrestling to anyone that's never seen it before, and you need a quantum physics degree. Like you need a 4-year degree from MIT. Bro, you do. Explain why the guy just got put down.
Passivity.
Okay, cool. What did he do? Nothing? Because the other guy didn't do anything either.
Yeah, I think though the amplitude factor in Greco, if we get rid of it, we need to find a way to transfer that into freestyle somehow. Because I think that's a big deal, right? Like Gucci put in the comments, like you need a crash and burn, like you need power bombs, right? Like you need people getting F5. Also,
I love that, and we can kind of talk about that too, though, because like, how do you incentivize? Because they tried, right? Because they tried for a minute. Like, don't forget, like this is the iteration of the rules that we have right now in freestyle wrestling.
They've been through the ringer.
Oh boy, have they! Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy! It's the dark ages of freestyle was like 2007 to 2006 to 2013, right? 2000, that was bad. That was really, really bad. Like the ball draw and that kind of stuff was terrible. But even the iteration that we have now has gone through some shit, right? So it's like, don't forget, there was an almost takedown for a minute. For a minute in 2013, if you got a leg up and you didn't score a takedown, they would give you 1 just for the effort, right? That lasted about 6 or 7 months or something like that. But it was a thing. And then they went to 2 threes as a tech, right? So they didn't have 4 pointers. It was 2 feet to back. 2 feet to back as a tech. I don't know. That seemed to be an incentive, but it didn't stick around long enough for people to see. What's interesting to me is like, I love when you see people starting to game those rules. Like, they'll go hard on slips. We didn't get to see any of that. So it's like, I don't know. I think there's a way to incentivize power bombs. There's a way to incentivize, that kind of stuff. Maybe, I don't know. And I'm just spitballing. I'm just thinking like right off the dome right now, but maybe it's freestyle. And then as soon as you hit the mat and parterre, it's Greco. You can't touch the legs. Right. That would give me a lift factor. I don't know. I'm just making shit up, but
I think that goes to your point though, with the need to be able to explain something in 45 seconds. The mat wrestling and international wrestling isn't explainable in 45 seconds. And I think it's one of those things where there needs to be an incentive for
freestylers. Like it's pretty simple.
Yeah, man, I'm just
like
I'm such a rider, dude. So it's hard for me. Like I love legs and stuff.
But it's really, really but it is still simple in freestyle.
There should be a 1 point for escape on the dude on bottom. Like, I think that would incentivize dudes getting tossed because dudes would be trying to get out and then you're getting launched, right? Like, I think that could be a good, like, hey, you shouldn't want to hang out down there. You should want to get the hell out of there.
Maybe, yeah, you have to incentivize it more. Maybe it's 2 points for an escape or 3 points for an escape or something like that to make it worth their while. But yeah, I don't know. I think this rule set that we're dealing with right now is pretty darn good for freestyle, man. It's so convoluted and difficult in Greco. It's so difficult. I like trying to explain it to a person. Trying to explain it to a person that won a world title is tough, right? Steve Neal, he's pretty good. He knows freestyle wrestling real well. When I have to explain to him that wasn't a leg foul because the foot was technically grounded and the guy fell over it or something like that, like the nuance of it, yeah, we're losing everybody. Like we're losing everybody. If Steve Neal, who won a world title, won't follow it, doesn't want to take the time to, what are we doing? You know, how are we ever going to bring people into the sport? It's too much, you know. But again, you know, kind of got off track. But beach wrestling, there was a minute there where like they put me on a beach wrestling tour, like, and it was fun, man. It's a party, dude. There's just like house music going on, like Eurotrash house music. They got beers flowing. Like, it's a good time, dude. You know, it wasn't bad. It was kind of cool. They should have it at the actual beach more often. Right? They try to skimp on venues and they just put it in like a volleyball, you know, sand volleyball court, which is like fine, but no, I get it.
It defeats the whole part. Like, dude, ambiance and atmosphere is everything. If you're gonna call it beach wrestling, don't take me to a lake. Okay, yeah. Don't take me to the Forked River Lake. Okay, like I want to go to the beach. Let's go to Jenks. Let's go to Seaside. Let's go to Pier Village. Come on.
And that type of place, and we've seen it, right? Like Danny Mullins run Jenks. He's run beach tournaments like right outside Jenks, and they draw a crowd. If nothing else, we will draw a crowd. And it'll pop. It'll be fun. Yeah. So I think it can really catch on. I mean, you know, if the cool part to me would be putting it on at a place like Jenks, and then having a house announcer explain the rules every 10 minutes to people walking by. Takedowns are 1, step downs are 1, first person 3 wins. You go. You know, so that's.
I don't know if they do it at the NCAAs because I've never been, but you just brought up a very good point. I think if you have a house announcer, almost like a comedy show has a host the event, like basketball shows do it, like have someone hosting. I think that's another thing that can bring atmosphere. But we're getting all over the place here.
No, they do have that at NCAAs. They have it at the World Championship. Brian Hazard and Jason Bryant do it.
All right.
And they do a phenomenal job. It's funny. They asked me to do it here at Poway, and I'm like, no. They're like, but you do the. I'm like, that's a different skill set, bud. It's a very different skill set. I don't have that strip club DJ voice.
Right? You gotta be a people person too. Like, you gotta be.
Yeah, I don't really like that either. Yeah, I don't like talking to people.
You and me both, brother. So, what you got for me this week?
All right. Did you watch Penn State, Iowa at all?
Yeah. Bro, you didn't send me any homework. If you don't send me homework, bro, I got some stuff. I'm a bad wrestling fan.
Hold on. All right. Carter Starachi, if he wins 5 national titles because of the COVID year, does he go down as the greatest of all time?
No.
Greatest small person.
He's lost?
He has 2 losses.
We've already had this conversation.
We haven't had this conversation about Sriracha.
No, but we've had about Kale, and I think that's the bar. And yeah, you got 5 years. Kale to get 5 years. Kale'd still be winning. Like, let's be real. Come on, he'd still be
I don't know
winning.
that. I don't know that. I don't know that. It's strange to me. We put so much emphasis on the national title. To get it done 5 times, dude, that tournament is such a meat grinder. And it's, by the way, it's better now than it was in 2001. Now, don't get me wrong, Kale had some banger weight classes. There's no question. But looking back, it was kind of DC and like everybody else, right? Like DC became one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. And he made an Olympic team. But I think when the dust settles, I think the kids, like the athletes that Sriracha is beating, and Brooks too, man. These kids are so friggin' good. And like, I think one of the things that hurts Sriracha's case is that he wins ugly a lot. Like, he won ugly against Nelson Brands this past week, but he won. You know, like, he's still winning. When you can have a crap match and only, sneak out a 1-point victory against Mekhi Lewis, when you ride him, or against the Nelson Brands where you don't get a takedown. I think that kind of stuff really hurts in history, right? Because you think of Spencer Lee, and you just think of even the time, like, he went out there and got taken down in the first 10 seconds of the bout this past week against Penn State, but he still wound up getting a tech in the first period. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, when you think of Spencer Lee, he's chucking points on the board.
Well, dude, that goes into the consideration, and because we're Jersey guys, I'm going to say the Damian Hahn factor. Damian Hahn was the most impressive high school wrestler I've ever seen. Scotty Winston was number 2. And the reasons why was because they blew people out, right? And then, you have Mike Gray, you have Seriano. They were good, right? Their technique was so crisp. You weren't touching them. They weren't making a mistake, but they would win a 5-0 match. They would win a 3-0 match, right? I think that has to go into the argument, right? I'm going to be that guy, for devil's advocate's sake, for the sake of the conversation, who's going to kind of take the side of, it was better back in my day. And here are kind of my arguments, right? With the 5-time thing. When we were coming up in high school, 100 wins was a big deal, big deal. You cannot get out of regions now and still get 100 wins, right? Yeah. So it's been watered down because they get more matches. So, like, that's kind of my argument with the 5-timer thing. It's like, again, like, he's getting an opportunity. So, like, I think he should be in the conversation because he would have been a 4-timer, right? And 5-timer, yeah. But we really can't hold you at a higher level than these other 4-timers, because these other 4-timers didn't have that chance. So, like, yes, let's give you dabs if you win 5. Wow, that's epic. And I also think we say that the caliber of wrestlers are better today, and I agree with you there. But is there something to be said with? Oh, let me see if I get this right. With doing more with less, meaning when Kale was coming up, it was harder to be a Kale Sanderson because there was less information out there. It wasn't readily available. The clubs, the access to tournaments, there's more tournaments, all that. So, yes, the kids are better, but would they be better without that generation before them that like came up? And I want to cap this off as I think everything is relative. I don't think either or is better.
That's actually a really interesting take on it. It was harder to accomplish the things that Kale accomplished because of his dad coached him up until he went to Bobby Douglas at Iowa State. Wow, that's interesting. Now his dad just happens to be a great coach.
Yeah, really good coach because his brothers were pretty good too.
Yeah. I'm not like
all like 3 All-Americans.
Yeah, not that. That is a good point. Is there something to be said for waiting? And maybe Kale's a bad example because his dad was a really good coach, but I bet you there was like, oh, DC is a great example. You grew up in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Right? Like, is it more impressive to be Daniel Cormier in the time that he became Daniel Cormier, going to junior college, transferred to Oklahoma State, All-American twice, makes a few world teams, one Olympic team? Is it more impressive to have done it in a time where there was next to no wrestling in Louisiana? Certainly not to the degree that there is now. I think he's from Lafayette too. Which
him and Poirier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Dustin Poirier's from Lafayette.
Same town, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude, by the way, anyone listening to this, one of the top 3 meals of my life was in Lafayette, Louisiana.
What'd you have? Crawfish?
It was like everything.
Okay.
The name of the place was Nash's Place, and it was I was doing a camp there. I brought the family, and they were like, "Well, come to my mom's place for dinner." I thought they were literally sending me to this guy's mom's house, which, as it turns out, it was a restaurant, but it was a restaurant in an old Victorian mansion. It was just beautiful. And yeah, they pulled out every stop you could think of. They had like all this food coming. It was top 3 meals of my life, and I'm counting everything in Italy and Portugal and everything else. It was unbelievable.
Humble brag.
No, that's a brag.
all right. I'm jealous, dude. Italy.
What's the story about how Dave Chappelle and Kanye was a star? You ever hear that?
No.
Dave Chappelle tells a story on stage where he's like, I knew Kanye before Kanye was Kanye, and I knew that some bitch was going to be a star. How'd I know? Because I was in the studio one time, and he picked up the phone. He goes, yeah, I got to go. What do you mean, why? Because I'm doing shit. And he goes, I'm with Dave Chappelle. I know. My life is dope, and I do dope shit. And he just hangs up the phone. He goes, I knew he was going to be a star. And it's more than just a humble brag. Been everywhere, but no, it was one of the best meals of my fucking life. It was unreal. Lafayette, is it more important or is it more impressive? Yeah, probably, huh?
I think it's relative. I don't like to say either or, like, because everyone, thinks like the dudes of today would crush the dudes of yesterday, and you have those old dudes that they were tougher, right? But I think it would be like close matches. I really do, and I don't think it's
but where's the cutoff, bro? Where's the cutoff? Because you watch some of this stuff, and I'm not going to name names, but like there are guys out there that I know have world silvers that would get pieced up right now.
Yeah, but they were like 105 pounders, right? Like,
I'm talking about guys that rhyme with Royce Alger. Like you put Royce against Jaden right now.
Yeah, but like, is there something to be said about like the mush you in the face factor that he's bringing to the table? Because like, I think there's a feel, right? We know that as wrestlers, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, I'll use myself as a great example. You would always want me to drill or see someone I was going to compete with to watch me drill, right? You would always want to see that because they'd be like, oh, I'm going to crush this kid, right? But then it's like the whistle blows and then there's that feel. And I think there's something to be said about that. And like, yes, I think the videotape doesn't lie, but I definitely think there's something to be said about Royce Alger just pushing you into a table.
No question. I agree with you. But logistically, I just think a guy like Jaden would be such a nightmare for him. Now, we are also not taking into account, like we're plucking.
Yeah, we're not having him come up.
Right. He can't come out, in rural Iowa now, because now he's going to go to, big game wrestling club or whatever. What's his name? I can't think of his name. It begins with an S. It puts Superman logo on everything. But anyway, the point is.
Oh, I want to talk to you about what the hell is his name? This is gonna address Seabolt, TJ Seabolt. Oh, we guess.
I think I like TJ a lot.
Okay, we'll end it there.
I think he's always been good to me, and I do want my kids to come up there and train with him every once in a while.
All right.
I want them to come home quickly. How about that? No, but I mean, like, so we're not taking into consideration that a guy like Royce Alger grew up. I mean, I can't imagine he wrestled 12 months out of the year.
No.
Right.
And that's the other thing too, dude. Like those dudes in 92, you go back and watch the 92 states, they weren't wrestling they were wrestling maybe 3, maybe 6 if they were going to somewhere, but like,
yeah,
something to be said about that, dude.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's interesting because like you wonder if a guy like Kevin Jackson could have rattled off Kenny Monday, could have rattled off more if he was paid well, right? Because there was no money in the sport at all. Like John tells a story, like to anyone that'll listen. When he was, going for his second Olympic gold medal, he's bringing home $200 a week. Like he was hungry. Like this meant, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like he had a full-time coaching job at that point too, that was waiting for him when he was done, but he was living off $200 a week. So there's something to be said for the money that's kind of circulating around the sport now, and certainly more than it was even 15 years ago. Certainly more than it was 15 years ago. So you wonder how those guys would have done the Mondays, the KJs, even Gable. What if Gable didn't have to start? Would he have gone another cycle if he didn't have to start coaching right away to support a family? Probably, I would think.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point to where we are today in the sport. There's a lot of other avenues besides being a gym teacher and a wrestling coach.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No doubt about it, dude. Yeah, there's not a ton of money in the sport yet, but JB is doing well for himself. JB is doing well for himself.
I think to your point, I forget who you mentioned, but you mentioned like coming up from somewhere and then, being good. Let's be real. Jordan Burroughs, Willenboro, won the states once. He was good. He wasn't JB. Like we could rattle off a list of kids that we would have picked to have higher trajectory going into college. But I think there was a raw talent who got put in the right program with the right people around them. And they did the same thing with another kid from his hometown. And I think there was 3 of them actually. Vince Jones was the first, and then it was JB, and then it was Green. But I think there's something to be said about that too. We're like taking raw talent and you got JB.
Yeah, I think that's, we're cutting it close here, and I don't want to open up another Pandora's box of conversation yet, but I think that there are a couple of things, and maybe we save this for next week because it's probably a good topic to expand upon. I think that there's 2 things that high school coaches and parents of high school wrestlers don't take into consideration during the recruiting process, that there are so many misses, and it's less than it was, but it's certainly more than it should be. Number 1, is it the right place? Okay. Just because Kale calls you doesn't mean that it's the right place. Just because John Smith calls you doesn't mean that it's the right place. The right place is the place that you're going to fit in the best. You get along with the guys the best. You agree with the coach's philosophy on the sport, that kind of stuff. That's number one. The second biggest, and I think this is the easiest miss that almost all high school kids and their parents miss on: history at the weight class. How does the school that you're going to perform historically at the weight class that you're projected to be? Because guess what? If I'm a 25, I'm either going Iowa or I'm going to Cornell. If I'm a 41, 49, I'm going here. If I'm a 74, 84, 90, I'm going Penn State. You can't stop me. You know, so it's like you have to kind of look at trajectory of the weight and why they're so good there, right? Dan Dennis, Terry Brands are lightweight coaches. Okay? There you go. You know, Mike Gray was a lightweight coach. Now he has to be a head coach, so it's a little bit of a different animal. So we'll see how that shakes out. But you get what I'm saying. Kale has Casey, Varner, himself, and David Taylor all in the room, making Srirachi, Max Dean, and AB all better every single day.
Cody's
So
in
it's
there
like-
too, right?
Huh?
Cody's in there too, right?
Cody, yeah, but he was a smaller
All
guy.
right.
Well, he was 41, 49, something like that. Maybe even 57. But like, if you want to talk about upper middleweights, Penn State's lights out. Lights out. So I don't know, man. I think those are the two biggest misses that our sport doesn't even consider.
You know what I think the biggest miss is, and
Yeah.
I think we can get into this next week. I don't think enough people ask themselves, one, am I a college wrestler? Not am I a good wrestler and can I win matches on a college mat, but am I a college wrestler? Meaning, can I go to school and wrestle? Go to school is the emphasis on there. And the other point is I don't think enough people are honest with themselves about the fact that they're not Division I wrestlers. And it's not the fact that they can't hang on a Division I mat. It goes back to the Division I academic workload. And I'm just dealing with where we came from at Middlesex and the type of athlete we dealt with there, and me coming up and not being honest with myself, always like being bullheaded. I don't think coaches or parents are comfortable enough having that conversation with athletes.
Well, I can tell you that conversation will be had in my house, because if an NAIA school offers you a full boat, you're going. You're going.
What up, life?
Yeah. Go to Life. Go to whatever. Give it a name, right?
Oh,
But if an NAIA school,
Grandview's the other.
Grandview,
Yeah.
dude, they're giving you the boat, you're going. I don't care how much you want to go to Purdue. Okay. Like, I don't care. Like, you're not footing the bill, then, or if you are, then do it. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. Yeah, you're right. It's I think I think that the time has come in 2023 to start addressing college decisions like they're a business decision, not like they are an emotional whatever decision. Because you know, it's a lot of money, dude.
that, and I think just as a sport in general, we have put way too much emphasis on Division I, way too much, and have given it way too much. And I'm not saying that those guys don't, but there's 4 other divisions, maybe 5, that don't get any attention. And there's stories and there's dudes that have talent. And those are opportunities. And those kids are learning the same lessons as the kids there.
Maybe more, right? Because they're doing it without people watching all the time, right? So they have to really kind of look inward at some of these life lessons that they're learning. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. I think that's probably a good place for us to end up right now. I think we should save a lot of this for next week. Let's talk about the recruiting process as much as we can for next week, because I think that there's a lot of coaches out there, but I think there's a lot of dads out there that are pretty misinformed. Misinformed. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Even here, man, like we got kids going to Big Ten schools, and I'm like, how much are they offering you, bud? He's like, oh, you don't get there. I'm like, why'd you commit then? Why did you post on Instagram that you're going there? Like, so we these are things that like are like, so here's the thing, and we'll leave it at this. The head coach and the institution that you're going to are treating you like it's a business decision. So if you think that Coach A likes you, you might be right. But at the end of the day, they have a budget. They have 9.9 scholarships, and they can finagle something here, but understand that all those factors add to an equation that is a business decision. And if they don't have to give you money, if they don't think that they have to give you money, they're not going to give you money, whether they like you or don't. And that's exactly what one of our athletes found, is that 4 weeks ago, he takes a loss to a kid, and then they offered that kid money. And then 2 weeks later, kid from Poway beats him again. And now all of a sudden, he gets offered the money.
Welcome to college wrestling.
Huh? Yeah, that's college wrestling. That's Big Ten wrestling, bud. They're going to go with the better wrestler every time. Because at the end of the day, if, gone are the days of Gary Taylor at Ryder in perpetuity. Like, he probably could have had that job till he killed over, I would think. But you can't do that anymore. Like, you got to win. You got to win now, right? So Chris Bono, if you don't win at Wisconsin, you're gone. That's simple. Like, these guys are getting paid too much money now.
Are they not feeling good this year?
No, they're fine. They're not. I'm just using him as an example.
All right. I was like, oh man, I like Coach Bono.
No, Bono's great. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm just using like Kale.
Right.
No, terrible example. He always wins.
I know what you mean though.
Whatever. Doesn't matter. Whoever. Like Tom Brands. I know your name's on the wall. But what have you done for me lately? Okay, well, you won a national title 2 years ago. Even though Penn State balked, right? They sat a good chunk. He's got the win though. He's got the win. So yeah, we should probably come up. Maybe we should ask the crowd a little bit too on Instagram. Like, what recruiting questions do you have that no one, or how about this? Maybe dads that have been through it chime in and go, look, nobody prepared me for this. Because there's a bunch of those. Like, oh man, no one prepared me for the fact that I'm going to say yes to this deal, but it might not start the year after I wrestle in high school. I might have to gray shirt and find a way to move out to, wherever and just work construction for a year and wrestle in the club. Like, that's a thing,
Or how about, and I know we're going to cut it off, but how about like being ready for a coach to treat you like a chick he's trying to bang, right? Like, cause there's a lot of that. And like, I didn't have Division I coaches coming at me, but I like experienced it on the lower levels of things. And like, you're not used to that as a kid. You're not used to like all this attention. And then you're like watching other kids at the same weight class get recruited. And you're like, wait, there's like 10, 25 pounders.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. All right, let's get out of here. Awesome, brother. Thank you so much.